background music, epic and cinematic. On your screens now is the world map centered on Europe. The year is 1726. On the other side of the Atlantic, 13 British colonies were ready to revolt. They would defeat the strongest empire on Earth and change the course of human history forever. This is the story of how the Americans won their freedom from the British Empire. Visuals. World map zooms into the British Empire, highlighting North America. The British Empire was the world's dominant power. It had one of the largest navies on Earth and controlled vast territories across the globe. For over a century, they'd been ruling the North American colonies with an iron fist, exploiting their resources and enforcing strict laws. But unrest was growing among the colonists. Visuals. A wide shot of a crowded town square with colonial militiamen drilling. The American Revolution was a war fought between the Kingdom of Great Britain and the 13 colonies in North America between 1775 and 1783. It was a fight for independence. The 13 colonies sought to break free from British rule and establish themselves as a new nation. But why did the Americans want independence? And what made them think they could win against the mighty British Empire? Well, it started with taxation without representation. The British government imposed a series of taxes on the colonies, but they didn't have any say in how these taxes were spent. The colonists felt like they were being exploited, and it wasn't fair. To make matters worse, British troops were stationed in the colonies to enforce the taxes, which only added to the tension and resentment. Visuals. Close-up of a quill pen signing the Declaration of Independence. On July 4th, 1786, the Declaration of Independence was signed. This document outlined the reasons for the colonies' desire for independence, and it also declared that they were indeed independent. The war was on, and the odds were stacked against the Americans. They were outnumbered and outgunned by the British, but they had something else: determination. The colonists were willing to fight for their freedom, and they had a strong sense of unity. They were all in it together. Visuals. A battle scene depicting colonial militiamen fighting against British troops. In the early years of the war, the British had the upper hand. They had a larger, better-trained army and a powerful navy. The Americans struggled to mount effective resistance. Despite the challenges, there were some key moments early on that turned the tide in the colonists' favor. First, there was the Battle of Saratoga. This battle was a turning point in the war. The American victory at Saratoga convinced France to join the conflict. France provided much-needed support to the Americans in the form of troops, supplies, and financial aid. This assistance proved crucial to the American cause and helped to ensure their ultimate victory. Visuals. A painting of Benedict Arnold. One of the biggest factors in the American victory was the leadership of General George Washington. Washington was a skilled military leader who was able to keep his troops together through the darkest days of the war. He was also a symbol of the American cause, a beacon of hope for the colonists who were struggling to maintain their independence. His perseverance and strategic brilliance were instrumental in securing victory. Additionally, the Americans benefited from the leadership of several other key figures, such as John Hancock, Samuel Adams, and Thomas Jefferson. These individuals played significant roles in shaping the course of the Revolution, whether through their military tactics, political influence, or intellectual contributions. Visuals. A portrait of King George III. Meanwhile, the British faced challenges of their own. King George III was initially reluctant to come to North America to oversee the war effort. He left the management of the conflict to Parliament, which may not have been the best decision. Some historians argue that if the king had been more involved, The outcome of the war could have been different. Also, the British underestimated the colonists' resolve and overestimated the loyalty of their Native American allies. As a result, they were caught off guard by the colonists' ability to wage a protracted and ultimately successful war for independence. Visuals. A map showing the progression of the American Revolution. As the war dragged on, the British began to lose ground. The American victory at Yorktown in 1781 effectively ended the war. With British forces trapped and surrounded by American and French troops, the British were forced to surrender, marking a decisive turning point in the conflict. Visuals. A treaty being signed. On September 3, 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed. This treaty officially ended the American Revolution and recognized the United States as a free and independent nation. It also set the boundaries of the new country and granted them vast territories in the West, setting the stage for further expansion. Visuals. A celebratory parade in Philadelphia. The American Revolution was a watershed moment in world history. It demonstrated that a group of ordinary people could fight against a powerful empire and win. It also inspired other nations to seek independence and sparked the rise of republicanism as a form of government. The United States became a beacon of democracy and a model for other nations seeking to break free from oppressive rule. But how did the U.S. go from 13 small colonies to the most powerful nation in the world? After the war, the newly independent United States faced immense challenges in establishing itself as a new nation. The country was deeply in debt. Its infrastructure was in ruins, and it lacked recognition from other world powers. However, the vision of its founding fathers and the hard work of generations of Americans eventually transformed the nation into the powerhouse it is today. Visuals. A time lapse showing the growth of the United States. Several factors contributed to the rise of the United States as a global superpower. First, the vast natural resources of the country provided a foundation for economic growth and industrialization. The abundance of land, timber, minerals, and fertile soil allowed for the development of a thriving agricultural and manufacturing sector. Second, the United States benefited from a stable political system that upheld the rule of law and protected individual liberties. The Constitution established a framework for a representative democracy that ensured the peaceful transfer of power and limited government interference in the lives of citizens. Third, the influx of immigrants from Europe brought a surge of new ideas, skills, and labor to the United States. These immigrants, fleeing persecution or seeking better lives for themselves and their families, contributed to the nation's cultural diversity and fueled its economic expansion. Fourth, the country's strategic location and access to global trade routes facilitated the growth of international commerce. The United States' coastal position and extensive waterways enabled the efficient transportation of goods to and from foreign markets. Fifth, the emphasis on education and the pursuit of knowledge helped to cultivate a skilled and innovative workforce. The establishment of universities and the promotion of scientific inquiry fostered a culture of learning that equipped Americans with the tools to excel in various fields. Lastly, the country's commitment to ideals such as individual liberty, equality, and self-government inspired admiration and support from other nations. The United States emerged as a beacon of democracy and a champion of freedom, forging alliances and partnerships worldwide. However, despite its status as a global superpower, the United States grappled with its own internal challenges and external pressures. From social and economic disparities to threats posed by rival superpowers and global conflicts, the nation has continuously strived to uphold its values while navigating the complexities of an ever-changing world. The journey from a fledgling nation to a superpower has been fraught with obstacles and compromises. The United States has often fallen short of its ideals, particularly in areas of civil rights and social justice. Despite progress made, systemic inequalities and ongoing struggles for equality demonstrate that the promise of the American dream remains elusive for many. On the world stage, the United States has faced numerous challenges and conflicts that have tested its power and resolve. From the Cold War rivalry with the Soviet Union to the complexities of the Middle East, the nation has been engaged in a multitude of conflicts and diplomatic tensions that continue to shape its role in global affairs. Visuals: a modern-day map of the world with the U.S. highlighted. Today, the United States stands as a testament to the power of revolution and the enduring spirit of those who dared to challenge the status quo. The American Revolution continues to resonate as a defining moment in world history, inspiring movements for freedom and democracy around the globe. As the United States navigates the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century, the legacy of its revolutionary past serves as a reminder of its potential and the importance of safeguarding the hard-won freedoms that have shaped its destiny. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss another History Explained video. We've got lots more where this came from. If you enjoyed this video, we highly recommend checking out our other videos on similar topics. You can click the links on your screen now to keep watching.